What is the craziest hazing initiation ritual into a club or organization that you've experienced first or second hand? A guy I used to roll with had a pretty crazy novice initiation at his old club. They would blindfold the first year guys and throw them in a dark closet which was empty except for a strobe light, a fog machine, a stereo blasting let the bodies hit the floor or something similar, and a pile of Skittles. They would then scream at the new guy to sort them into piles by color and lock him in. They would come back in after 10 minutes and usually the kid would have some semblance of piles. But one time, they came back and the kid had just spread them out and was sitting there crying. They were shocked and started yelling at him again. "WTF is this? This is garbage, etc." And through his tears, the kid says, "I'm colorblind." They felt pretty bad and let him do something else. Edit. Forgot about the fog machine. Definitely increases the difficulty. In the army we used new guys for radar tests, so we could track them. We wrapped them head to toe in aluminum foil. We even made a foil mask. Then we gave them a walkie-talkie and had them run, stop, walk slowly, run some more so we could track them. Of course, there was no radar test and you can't track aluminum foil anyway. So we just had new guys in foil suits and foil masks with eye holes, running all over the base. Good. Stop there. Now wave your arms and jump up and down. Calibrating. Now jump higher. Good. A rather notorious sorority at my college made new initiates call their boyfriends love interests and have phone sex with them, with everyone listening. The boyfriends would have to be told after the call was over. While this is not physically all that harmful, it ended a lot of relationships, created permanent trust issues, and is really just quite cruel in my opinion. There is some ridiculous shit at my uni that sports clubs do for initiations, or adoptions as they are now called, to get around the rules. The rugby club is banned from the SU for an initiation ritual in which they would hold freshers over the edge of the terrace bar, first floor balcony with brick underneath, by their ankles and make them whack pints. The football club can't hold adoptions in the SU. Last year there was a choice between playing soggy biscuit, downing a pint from a shoe with a live goldfish in, or shaving your head. I was surprised to see a large number of footballers still with hair the day after. Well, if no one else plays soggy biscuit, you get to jack off and have a free cookie. I have seen videos of a rugby society throwing people off a bridge blindfolded onto suicide nets. Pretty crazy. They have nets? F-king casuals. This wasn't me but was something my brother did. When he was in college in a fraternity, he used to make one pledge come over to his place every day to do a human alarm clock. The kid would sit next to his bed and wait until 7 AM to gently awake my brother for his class. If he smacked him on the head, that meant snooze for 5 minutes. After my brother woke up, it was then the pledge's job to go sit on the toilet bowl to get the seat warmed up for him. Edit. Not really that crazy but thought it was funny enough to share. The worst hazing ritual I've personally witnessed was a 6'4" shirtless hulk of a man braced held down while two other men used a blowtorch to heat up a branding iron with the organization symbol. As soon as the branding iron was glowing red, they put a hood on the initiant's head, then pulled an identical branding iron out of a bucket of ice water and pressed it to his chest. Out of all these, this one seems to have the best fun to harm ratio. And as soon as he started chuckling with relief, they pressed the red hot one to his ass. My first job was as a cashier in a small family owned grocery store. Apparently, the stock boys had a tradition that went back years where they'd tell the new guy that one of his jobs is to shake up the Italian dressing bottles every couple hours. It makes them look better. After all, the owners were in on it, so they'd give them shti for it. Salad dressing duty. We used to do this as well in the grocery store I worked at. Had to drink a gallon of prune juice then walk 12 miles back to campus. Initiation into bingo club can be rough. A guy that lived in my dorm freshman year pledged a fraternity that same year, and he had 5 other guys in his pledge class. One of their tasks was to complete a 500-piece puzzle in a pitch-dark bathroom with nothing but the assistance of 2 big lighters. Had a bit of my dick sliced off to become Jewish. Edit. I was 8 days old already. I had to pay $4 to be a real Redditor and access the lounge. Semi-related, but I thought I'd share anyways. Back in college, I jokingly made a rumor that a rival fraternity would buy watermelons for their pledges and time them having sex with said watermelons. The closest your time was to another brother was who your big became in the fraternity. The person who lasted the longest then would have to eat the cum-soaked food. Eventually this became such a well-known rumor it became accepted as fact, and the fraternity had to make an effort to tell potentials and girls that they in fact did not duck watermelons. Ah. Good times. Edit. New phone doesn't have my vernacular down pat yet. Keeping it as is. Holy FCK, that was you. I used to work as a rigging technician in the movie industry. All the equipment had funny names, so a new guy wouldn't think twice if you asked him to go fetch something that doesn't exist. Popular one is the long wait. He'll go to the truck or store and ask whoever is there where the long wait is. If the guy is in on it, his response will be something to the effect of, okay, just hang on over here and I'll go fetch it for you. And then just leave him there while everyone else uses the radio to harass him to hurry up. Other popular fictional items include skyhooks, tins of elbow grease and packets of grinding sparks. The basketball team of one of our rival schools had a hazing ritual where they played Ookie Cookie, when everyone jerks off on an Oreo and the last one to come has to eat the jizz-soaked cookie. They got caught. Big news story and stuff. Boys are gross. Dude. It's called soggy biscuit. I work in a restaurant. Whenever we get a new busboy, at the end of the night we tell him to make sure the pilot light is working for the ice machine. They spent 15 minutes trying to figure it out and asking managers for help. It is great. When I joined the Girl Scouts I learned they have a blood in blood out policy, and that's all I can really say. I'm sorry. What? Stripped naked and thrown in the trunk of a car. Driven 20 miles from campus. Once removed from trunk. Smeared with sheep blood from head to toe. A bloody hatchet superglued to hand and told to get home by midnight. Everyone had to do this? How'd that work out? I wasn't involved in this organization, but they did it the best ways I've heard. They would give you tasks where you could do it the dumb way, which was harder. Or if you were clever, take an easy way out. The best example I have is they separated a group of 12. 6 in a small room with a window leading outside to each. And they placed a keg in the room and said they couldn't leave until it was gone. One group attempted to drink the whole thing. The other group placed it outside the one-story building window and left the room. They greeted me as a friend. We did stuff together. Went home to sleep. Went there the day after. And they still greeted me as a friend. I never went back after that. Figured there must be something wrong with them. Being polite and all that shit. There's a frat at my school that makes all the pledges go into the basement and get on their hands and knees. The pledges have to push a coin across the floor with their nose. Not the worst thing that goes on by far. But pretty funny. There's a sorority on campus that is on probation because they made their pledges sort sprinkles and blow up balloons. They gave them ice cream afterwards. But apparently one girl had a panic attack. Edit. A panic attack from sorting sprinkles and blowing up balloons? Seems extreme. I was blindfolded, leading to a bathroom and being told to sit on the ground. A brother asked how far I'd be willing to go to get initiated in the fraternity. I said I'd do anything. And he forced my hands into the toilet. So I'm sitting there, elbow deep in the frat house shit, wondering what the FCK is happening. He says grab it. Dot. I was in disbelief. The soft, mushy turd spurts between my fingers as I clench it in my hand. Bite it. If you want to get in, you have to bite my shitty. Oh my f-king god. I'd already pledged for 8 weeks. And I wasn't gonna let this end all of it. So I pulled it up to my blindfolded face. and took a bite. It was a banana. Swimming in fecal bacteria. Oh, Osmosis Jones. Dude. You were going to bite shitty? This I cannot understand at all. Pulled off the street. Blindfolded. Stripped down to underwear. Driven 2 hours out of the city and left handcuffed to another person. We had been left a camera, a Mets card with $20 on it, and a list of tasks that had to be accomplished before we were allowed to get back to uni. Ended up composing a song and dance number. Busking in this tiny coastal town until we got enough money to buy clothes from the Salvation Army. Ended up dating the guy I was cuffed to. Made for a pretty good how we met story. Did it. And that. Kids. For my sorority. We broke into frat houses at night and stole their composites. Keep in mind, these composites were very heavy and worth thousands of dollars. We stole about 18 composites. Then told the frats they had to do something nice for us to get them back. There's nothing like felony burglary charge to ruin your future. Good times. If guys broke into sororities, they would be arrested. I'm a part of the Uzma Kappa frat on my campus. It's ridiculously cheap rent and I couldn't afford to live in the city otherwise. I didn't show up to most of initiations and just agreed to pay their fees. They were desperate for membership. One of the few events I went to had the pledges walking into different rooms where they had to do different types of shots. Only every time someone said take a drink another guy would awkwardly chime in, but not if you're uncomfortable or don't want to. I've grown fond of them. I think I saw you in Monsters University. See, this is exactly the type of frat I'd want to join. While watching you.I was thinking, seriously? People dislike down to earth frats where everyone is nice to each other and have hot chocolate? My sister pledged some sorority when she was in school. And the few things I remember from it were that she had to drink the worm from the tequila bottle. And anytime a sister shouted pig, she would have to get on the ground and sizzle like bacon. I work at an equine hospital. A hospital, if you will. It is tradition for the new guy to stomp down the muck trucks, dump trucks full straw, hay, shitty and piss in their underwear. This is usually done in the morning, so for the rest of the day new guy smells like hell while appearing clean and meeting all the vets and his co-workers. Best one I heard of secondhand was during Hell Week at a frat. Where out of the pledge class, one person had to be on duty at all times on the roof of the frat wearing a tinfoil hat, keeping a watch out for alien attack. If at any time there was no person found on the roof, or that person was asleep distracted, the entire pledge class was punished with physical activity and or drinking. Brothers would take turns trying to catch the pledges unawares by sneaking up there in various ways dressed in hilarious alien costumes. I was in high school when a big story got out that a rival school's baseball team had initiations that involved broomsticks, pine cones, and anal. Edit. It seems this rumor and actual events have spread throughout our weird country. Where the FCK did all the people in these responses get their pig's blood? Is that like a readily obtainable resource in certain places? What in the FCK? Man. There was a hazing in a club that some people I knew were in where you had to stick a thin glass tube down your urethra without breaking it. It was an all boys club. Nope. There was a frat at U10 that had its pledges butchered franzia. One kid passed out and was taken to the hospital. He had a 45 back and his rectum was so abused that our pay nurse was called in. I can't link it because I'm on mobile, but it made national news and resulted in a hilarious press conference. Nothing too crazy when I joined my fraternity. Mostly just cleaning the house. Driving drunk active members around. The only real hazing we ever had was Big Brother night. This was the night where we were essentially inducted into becoming pledges. It was more funny than anything. They dressed us up in trash bags in some basement. Did case races and tour de Franzia until we all puked. Then did some ritual stuff. We marched quarter decks in the freezing cold a few times. Oh. Bows and toes. Those were always fun. Push-up position with elbows on bottle caps. Once again, it was never really malicious. Just more funny than anything. Some friends in other fraternites had the stereotypical paddling and all that weird nonsense. I had to go through some crazy stuff when I played on the Dolphins offensive line. Ass rights. It was a lacrosse thing. A few guys held you down when you were being idiot or jerk. And the other guy would drop throw and rub his bare ass on your face. A lot of drinking and pot may have been involved too. I was only ass ridden once. I guess my pillow was ass ridden once too. One kid got pink eye. We punished him for bringing disease to us all with an ass ride. A lot of the fraternity stories on here are homoerotic. A sorority had about 150 people in a room with all the girls pledging sitting naked on chairs in front of a big screen TV. They each had to sit on a playing card. Hardcore PRN started playing on the TV and each girl couldn't leave until they got wet enough for the card to stick to them. Huh. Well, there's this website, kind of a club, where, for the first few weeks, you're basically not allowed to say what you want. Except, not really, you can say it. But you get beat down by so many insults. And this really weird rating system. Later, people tell me they just sort of calm down and realize that they agreed with everyone else all along. Pretty soon, you realize you just can't leave. My god. It's like the most unpleasant yet highly effective form of mass hypnosis. Easily the creepiest thing I've seen online. Tied only with hidden cries for help. Initiation in a sports club. Had to wear a nappy diaper taped together. Naked. Ran out of tape before it got to me, so I just had to hold it there. Then ran across the city in front of passing people, buses, shops and dead silence. Squat in someone's muddy garden in a stress position and have eggs thrown at us. Then down 4 pints of whatever. One with eggs and baked beans in. One with cat food. Piss and something else in, and one with coffee. Tabasco sauce and chili. Then one through a fish head. Do 10 push-ups in the mud too, just for good measure. Then got pelted with eggs and flour some more. Worth it though. I got to buy the tie for you at Q10. Reading this thread makes me realize how much some people need to check their priorities. Weirdos. There's this one insane thing that happened at the students association I'm part of. The initiates all have to go to a 5-day camp, where the members will FCK them up a bit. It's about being lucky. Really. Some people get it tough. Some don't. There's one, however, who had it worst. There was a train track next to the camp. And one right next to that one. But the second one was out of use. One of the members knew this and decided to tie an initiate to the track. Needless to say, he flipped the FCK out when he heard a train coming. It passed him on the other track. Of course. But you can imagine he feared for his life. The member was immediately sent home. It was a bit too much mental torture. Really. The worst hazing story that I have heard was where pledges had to train a puppy during rush so that you build up a bond with it. At the end of the determined time, the pledges had to drown the puppy that they trained. The university found out and the frat was kicked off campus. Edit. I'm not sure if this true, but I was told that the university found out because one of the puppies that they thought they had drowned was still alive and somebody found it and brought it to a shelter. The dog survived and is supposedly very hostile towards males but is pretty calm around females. The Unsullied? I think that was Game of Thrones. That's f-king sociopathic. Bright side. If you refuse. One of the sororities at my university is known for having their pledges strip down to their underwear and then sit on a running washing machine. They examine their bodies as the machine is shaking and record what parts of their bodies jiggle too much. The jiggles must be gone before initiation. That is absolutely terrible. One of the high schools in my state had a few senior guys arrested for putting a cell phone up a freshman's ass, turning it on vibrate, and calling it. Back in college, I was in a frat and dated a girl in a sorority. Somehow in the progression of our relationship, she asked me to help haze the pledges with a couple of brothers. And I was down with it since my frat just finished rush. And I was getting bored. So I go. And they started doing some stupid crap like drink this shot or kiss the other pledge crap like that. Finally one of them says that one of the girls had to suck my dick. She, being a good southern Christian girl, didn't want to, but got pressured by everyone else to do it. So I had to step in and say no. At which point my GF told me to shut the FCK up. So I'll look down at this tiny blonde freshman who looks terrified and all I can think is this is too FK'd up. So I grab her hand and walk her out the door. She rushed another sorority. And dated me for the remainder of my days there. A few years down the line, we reconnected and are celebrating our 7th anniversary in 4 days.